Yeah, enterprise mobility is really about extension of the business to a mobile environment. And it's an extension of business to the four walls of the enterprise to anywhere in the country, on the planet for that matter. And we really look at it in terms of stages of what's happening. I mean, mobility has been around for a while. I mean, voice has always been the killer app, if you will, in being able to create connectivity. But we've seen emergence of different opportunities to come out of that with different benefits at the enterprise level. Where we are today, and arguably the first stage, would be around what we call PIM, Personal Information Management, and email. Technically somewhat simple, but I think very interesting in that the adoption rate is to the point now where almost nearly every enterprise out there is providing some sort of email capability for their mobile users. You can't be on a plane these days and it lands that everyone doesn't jump up onto their devices to check their email. So I think that is a first stage application that's really driving much of the market right now from an enterprise perspective. Why is that important is because I think it's the gatekeeper, if you will, to a deeper application where I move into more the mobilization of business applications. And we've seen a bit of this in the past, but usually around niche workers and niche environments where I've got a very specific set of tasks that require me to be mobile and I need access to something. So we've seen kind of spotty trends of that over the years. But what I think is going to happen now is a broader appeal of being able to access business systems while I happen to be mobile versus my mobile specific job. And by that I mean an extension of the work I do in the office, I now can do out of the office. And enables me to be faster, enables me to turn things around quicker, make decisions faster, and operate my business more in real time. And I think that's kind of where things are heading beyond the email phase, if you will, that we're at today. Well, it's interesting. The technology enablers in support of that, are clearly come in the areas of devices and device technologies, and we see evolutions there. And the basic cell phone is getting smarter, smartphones and PDAs. At the same time, even laptops and what we think of as core PC computing is getting smaller. Things like tablets and ultra laptops. So there's a lot of technology innovations that are happening in the device space in terms of giving more and more capability, in the palm of your hand, if you will. The others are on the networks, both from a standpoint of their ubiquitousness in terms of coverage, and on a global basis, cellular networks continue to get rolled out, continue to grow in coverage, and continue to grow in capability. They get faster and faster and more reliable, and there's just that train continues to move forward and increase the functionality in the network. Also, new network entries, things like Wi-Fi and emerging technologies similar to those are giving you broader appeal and actually creating challenges in providing this ubiquitous coverage. So I think in a sense it's almost like an arms race for ubiquitous high-speed coverage, which is a good thing overall because the more that race escalates, the closer we get to an environment where I have connectivity at the appropriate speeds wherever I need it, which are clearly going to be an underpinning here because you can have all the insight in the world to make quick real-time decisions to be competitive, but if my device can't handle that or I'm out of network coverage, those become constraints. So the technologies are going to have to continue to evolve to meet those constraints and truly realize this kind of real-time business environment. I think the key business drivers actually come from general competitiveness. And if you look at the evolution of kind of corporate competitiveness, things have been getting faster, more real time. We went from sort of a batched environment of decision making on the past to operating my business more in real time, making decisions faster, getting access to information faster. And I truly believe that is a distinct competitive advantage, to have that visibility and be able to make those decisions in as near real time as I can. So I think that is an underpinning because with that, you're going to be mobile. Your decision makers are going to be mobile. Your workers are going to be mobile. Your business is mobile. And so by being able to have that access anywhere you need it, it's going to enhance the idea of that real-time business, that real-time decision making. I also think globalization, in that your business is in more places, is in more time zones. You need to be reachable in more spaces. And so business doesn't just happen at typical bank hours in the past. It's happening 24/7. It's happening around the clock. And I'm not always going to be at work. I'm going to be on the go. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to even be home in some respects. So as business moves to be more real-time, needs to be more globalized, more 24/7, I think that's going to drive requirements around competitiveness that are going to require some sort of a mobility to extend my business beyond the four walls and the 8 hours of the day, if you will. I think there are a number of challenges. Certainly there are technology challenges in things like, well, security models around data, especially in a wireless type environment, even much across the network, even on the devices themselves. As I get more enhanced storage, and I have the ability, in a sense, to carry the corporate database around in my handheld, the loss of that device and such creates all kinds of security concerns, and I think those need to be addressed from a technological standpoint. I think some of the bigger issues are going to revolve around certainly some sociological issues around the definition of work and when am I available, when I'm not available. And I think that's going to continue to drive things. It's going to drive things both forward as well as a step back. And when do people want to be connected in this real-time environment, and when are they not connected, and what is business? I also think there's a governance and operational issue that needs to get sorted out. And when you have a spectrum of organizations, when you look at mobile devices, some issue devices to their employees, and they're paid for and managed under the umbrella of the organization. Others have it more open-ended, where you can buy your own device, and we'll tell you how to configure it and get your corporate email and get confirmation on it. The support and governance of that model can be very tricky. I mean, we saw this in the past in the shift from desktop computing to laptop computing. And what did it mean for an enterprise's total cost of ownership around that laptop now that it's mobile? You extend that now to mobile devices, and the spectrum of things going on and people getting them as birthday presents and then wanting access to corporate systems, how is that managed and supported and paid for? So there are significant governance issues I think need to get sorted out as well when we get to kind of mass scale adoption on the enterprise side. In terms of addressing the technology challenges, clearly some new things coming out. Obviously the what they call 3.5G and 4G networks that are coming out from the cellular providers are providing deeper and deeper capabilities, as well as enhanced location-based services. So if you look at what the carriers are doing around making your location, enabling it to put your application out there, to be able to provide services around it. So not just that I'm connected now, but there's a contextual knowledge of where I'm at. I think coming from the carriers is keen. I think also from the network standpoint, the emergence of WiMAX, which has the possibility of deploying blanketing, if you will, broadband wireless coverage to entire municipalities, entire campuses, and really solving some of the broadband coverage issues are going to solve some of the other technology constraints. 5 years, I see these stages continuing. So as we come out of the PIM and email stage we're in today, we move towards this mobilization of enterprise apps. I think we're going to shift gears a little bit and continue to look more horizontal at business applications, more just access to critical business information very quickly and easily, where you're going to be able to land the plane and not just flip open your device and check your email, but flip open the device and check the state of your business. Even if it's not specific to any business process or job function, I can get that horizontal view into everything happening in my business. So I think that's a natural extension. Further out, when you get to the 5-year space, I see a convergence, if you will, between what's happening in the consumer mobile space, which we see evolving, particularly around voice and some of the consumer services on these devices, and the enterprise mobility that we're talking about here. I see that all coming together. I see devices merging together, whether it's a phone or a PDA or a business device, are all coming together too on a single kind of unifying platform. And it's going to be a physical platform as well as a services platform where I'm going to have contextualized access to services. This platform is going to know where I am. It's going to know what I'm doing. It's going to know who I am and what I'm looking for. And there are going to be a set of services provided to me around that. And I think that's going to really open the door to all kinds of new opportunities for the real-time business advantages of enterprise mobility, but also for me as a consumer, offering me new services and being able to pull all of that together in kind of a single unifying platform, which are going to open significant new opportunities for new entrants, new opportunities, and for businesses to be able to do more than just extending what today is mobile, today is fixed, out to a mobile environment. I think key takeaways would be, around these stages, because I think things happen in steps. And it's been interesting to see over the past few years, as I mentioned, the emergence of and take-up of corporate email. And I think it really is kind of the fuse on the rocket ship, if you will. There's a lot of questions when you're doing technology predictions that say, gee, that sounds correct, but why now? And so I've been looking at some of the triggers, and I think corporate email on these devices, while simplistic and somewhat standardized, and even technically rather simple, the importance of it is really around the key staged gates, if you will, to take us from there to now what. Because in my mind, technology comes when people ask, now what? So I've got email on my phone, now what? What other services can I provide to me as a consumer? What other business decisions and how can my business operate better beyond just having email. Because people understand these devices are connected. They understand if I can get to the email server back at corporate, why can't I get to the the other enterprise type server? So I think the takeaway would be watch for this trend to emerge from corporate PIM and email today on devices to business access on devices in the future.